isn't one of those haunted gangsters. No point are you going to hear me claim something within the game spoke to me, reacted to my own words, or forced me to punch myself repeatedly in the face. No, this isn't a haunted game or a game doing something impossible. This is a glitch or crazy. And at no time did I from the kingdom headquarters only have my questions answered. Hushed whispers and aggressive screams. The story is about a game fiction. I don't know anyone else has much. No ghosts, just a secret. We're all supposed to find everything. Something that changes an entire generation's childhood. Variety insurance multi-million, billion-dollar franchise. This is about what I seem to be personally undiscovered. The ultimate ending of Super Mario. In the year 1996, I received my first computer and a birthday. I've been on the internet before, but had these computers. But it had always been from school or at friends' house. This one was all mine. This one was mine. Oh my. I explored the crude, prehistoric web of the time to find with great interest. I downloaded all sorts of pornography, and I even printed out with absolutely no sense. I printed media like Madden, music, games, anything. This is where I first discovered Super Mario. Never had a Super Nintendo as a little kid, so it was all new to me. I downloaded tons of games along with the SNES, Eliminator, but Mario was my favorite. Over a decade. I first discovered Mario World. I never had it. Over a decade, the Mario World ROM was my time-wasting hobby. I played it over and over again, beating the game faster and faster until I began to lazily explore the worlds with no particular purpose. Game codes helped minutes sleep, so I could turn off the timer and relive partially entertaining map for an hour. So I waited for the download and or any number of events. It was in this manner that I must have beaten the game thousands upon thousands of times. There was a comfort in observe accomplished behavior of this routine. But all of was shadowed beside the blind boots, as I refer to it, was hovering over the haunted second ship level later on in the game. I call it blind because it actually has no visible eyes. It was like someone had made a lazy ROM hack, but I never knew upon years upon years of experience that was just a normal game. The blind boo hung over the exit pipe, blocking it. I turned my back on it, but it didn't chase me. How could it? How couldn't it even see me? And I noticed something else of all sorts.
The door.
There's a key and a keyhole misplaced from
The door.
the exit keys.
The door.
We're ending up in the level. Alternate manner and discovering a secret area.
Jeff, the door.
Still, this
Jeff, I
didn't
can't get
belong
out. Get the door, Jeff.
there, and I knew
Can you
it.
get the door, Jeff, please?
For a moment, I constricted the facts that I'd actually broken a ROM file from overuse. After taking a screenshot, finally to show all you Mario Bros fans out there, picked up the key and opened the door. Figured the game would seize up and I'd have to restart. Instead, it opened a new path and map is a selection screen. Sucking Ghost Kid. A whirlpool next to Bowser, already creepy head cave thing. I pressed the right arrow. Drain. Oh God no. Oh God no. This didn't really strike me as an odd. If you're familiar with the Mario World game, there's an area called Star World. That you may know as a similar name. Just like stuff like Tubler and Awesome, and all manner of dumb words and phrases. Most of the areas were called Vanilla Force Line, Don't No Mountain Free, and all that. But there were maps with odd names that did concern me. Through the Mario's expression, surprise, shock, fear, as I entered the map. Oddly enough, the whirlpool in the middle of the lake began with the standard castle. Entry animation walks up to the castle door. Looked up and went in. I could tell under the water because the bubbles emerged from the sprites of the mouth. Inside the castle, it started to look more of an experiencing glitch. There was no room to jump. No room to do anything to run left and right. I must gone right for 10 to 20 minutes, just holding the B button, running along at full speed. After a while, I ran into two blind boos in the darkness above, and 3 or 4. Then the screen was full of them. But they kind of hung there, doing nothing. They wouldn't chase me if I turned my back. As the previous blind boo, if I made any noise, like Mario's jump sound, they would kind of shudder like a bit, like the sound of Mario's movements, but couldn't do anything about it. Sound of Mario movements, but couldn't do nothing about it. Then something made me stop, turn the other way. Now I knew beyond a shadow of doubt, this map was the same specifically to screw with the player. Not because the giant bleeding bill was humoring furiously from his face, But because it was inescapable, there's only no way to avoid being killed by it, as you can clearly see above. This is unless you're like me and the game genie cheats on hand. As such, mode with permanent invincibility. I hate you. I let the bleeding bill chase me for a while. I was invincible and just get a good look at the thing. Then I stopped and killed it with a verbal touch. Then I saw a message that hadn't been there before. I hate you. What kind of... That kind of creeps me out. But on the other hand, it was kind of interesting. Because it meant it's definitely a map that was supposed to be that exists. There's some sort of plot element here. Something undiscovered. What did it mean? Who hated me? King Koopa? This seems the obvious name. Or maybe the ghost. When you're in the haunted castle and you found the way to this haunted ship, a bloody looking hate message. It's unbelievable. I saw it again. I approached the giant booze. I was thankful the blind booze ended this point, because the more I watched them shudder, the uneasier I felt. Almost empathetic toward them, etc. The thankfulness ended when I turned my back and the giant booze. And this happened. The giant booze had a face that I hadn't seen before. They looked mad, as being awkward, angry that you were invading their haunted house across the Mario World Island. This was different. They looked gleeful, demented. I could see right down their throats, which seems odd, given the lack of detail of their mouths usually displayed. Of course, I'm gonna address that the message I saw, why won't you die? I did not know why. Am I supposed to? Who's asking? I let the giant boots touch me, and they died. And like the bleeding bill, of which I encountered two, despite the attempt to scare the player. Which, being invisible means invincible, no matter what they threw at me. After running for a while, there's a strange encounter with no more eventful happenings. I came a room with an exit pipe. Taking the pipe downward, I became out of the other end and dropped into a room filled with water. The water made sense, being a sunken castle beneath a whirlpool. As I was rewarded for my troubles, the mark block, which released a mushroom for me. I could have easily done this with one cheat code, but I thought it escaped me as I faced all new kind of strange sights. The first creatures I encountered in the underwater portion of the castle were fromps, unless you've been living under the rock since the mid-80s. You know, fromps. Stone square creatures that hang from the ceiling, fall whenever you come near. They try to crush you. Unnecessary. Well, with these swamps lined up in a tight row, dropped repeatedly and randomly with no real trigger or any sense of logic. They would wait to drop whenever they seemed to feel like it.
I don't think there's smoke alarm.
It also looked like these swamps were very successful swamps. Their cartoony blood getting pretty unusual with the Mario Bros. Franchise, which I hadn't recalled seeing blood in at all. I'd seen it 3 times. The bloody bills, the messages, the practically smashing, grinding thwomps who were working their victims into the pump forever. The hampering effect of the water I walked slowly under these things. Make sure every single one touched me and died. There were almost 30 of them in a row, and the sight of them mindlessly crushing over and over again just made me hate them with unsettling intensely. What is that blood caused Mario to slide as if he was on an ice level? After walking through the gauntlet of the depravity, swam into more open area. It was filled with spikes on the floor and ceiling. It was difficult to swim in this manner without touching the spikes, but since I was invincible, I didn't think much of it. I avoided more for fun than out of any sense I'd be damaged. It stopped being fun really fast though. Now I knew something. Now I knew some of what was going on the bloody mess of the swamps. The unendingly splatting. It was other Marios, past Marios that had tried to traverse this level and failed. I had to attempt. It was an excellent touch. It was even a bit ghoulish. Whoever designed the map actually broke the fourth wall, showed you the bloated bunches, abortions of the player's own careless treatment of Mario's tiny life. The bodies only floated straight up and down a tiny bit, as if to show the effects of the light current. It was genius. I couldn't believe I might be the first person to ever see this. I toyed with the idea of taking more than one screenshot. I presented you basically so all of you reading this could enjoy the secret map. As I especially this weird little touch, but without swimming, kicking, or moving in any way, the dead Marios started to come at me like torpedoes. Their faces remained blank and blue and dead, but they moved with a astounding speed, and they angled and a position, worked all sort of technique in the queue conjectures, and that left me almost nowhere to move. They were angled position, swimming and backing up and trying again. I couldn't bring myself to them. I touched with more speed and skill. than I ever expected. Frankly, trying to keep Mario free of the drowning victims would soon be dead, and they're rocking straight into them. I finally reached the purple exit pipe you see above. There have been 10 of those things right behind, pitching, turning, and chasing me. I entered the pipe as fast as I could. Thankfully, that it works properly. Mario out of the situation. In a heartbeat. The conzer that followed was empty. Thankfully, it was just a blue underwater hallway of sorts of nothing to avoid or kill. It was boring and predictable, like the game had been all these years, which brought back a sense of safety at the end of the hallway. I came to the standard pair of doors you would enter to face the final boss. Beside the doorway had a mushroom power-up. I didn't touch that shit. Going through the door, you expect a typical change of the map occurred to the Mario was standing on an umbilical bridge over boiling lava, or had it been blood all along? Or has it been blood all along? When Mario walked out into the bridge, however, there was no boss creature. Said Mario immediately looked up and froze. I couldn't control him anymore. He just stood there. Keep looking until you see it. I didn't see it at first, so you expect to notice it right away. I can still harnessed by the thing. Look in the third window from the left. As FYI, that's not usually there. Mario seemed to regain his composed look back for slowly observing the room. There was still no boss, and I still couldn't control him. So I stopped trying and just watched. This went on and on. It seems like forever and nothing happened. And a familiar face walked in from the right. Dressed in green, tall, angry, it was Luigi. Mario recoiled in horror. It was difficult to say without thinking how crazy it sounds. But Mario really relayed back with sort of terror that was uncharted of such peppy, happy, go-lucky mascot like him. And Luigi spoke. It was all connecting. The messages scrolled on the walls. I hate you, and why won't you die? Luigi, you thought Koopa worked alone? How he hated Mario, who among us? Think about it. No matter what happens, Mario always comes back. No matter how many corpses he leaves slithering on the battlefield. He always there once more to leap and cheer and get all the adoration. Adoration. And Koopa worked alone. I didn't know that meant first. If anything, but once again, you have to think it through. How exactly does King Koopa get so she succeed? Kidnapping the princess from day one, the original Mario Bros. Onward. It has always been an inside job. Still unable to control the character, I watched Mario simply cower in fear as Luigi leaped high in the air, as high as he could. And Mario, too, a bastard child of the franchise. He jumped, pathetically leaping Mario again. And again, and again, I was powerless to stop it. When he was done, he seemed to look at Mario limp body with this overwhelming rage. Then the bridge started to disappear soon. Mario would be dead as I looked on. I had an original thought world I'll be permanent. That is the end. That is the end.